Greetings, everyone. Jaloja. Happy Orville Day. And I'm going to put on my Orville hat. I can. That's right. And we're going to do this old school. All right, this was last minute. I probably should have promoted it more. But we've got about 117,000 more subscribers here since the last time since I did a season 1 review of the Orville. And it's Orville Day. At least it is on the West Coast. It's 9 p.m. And this is when I would normally be doing an Orville review. So I thought I'd celebrate Orville Day by doing something I didn't do. I did not review the premiere episode I did it on a live stream podcast. I didn't do it by itself. So I thought I'd make up for that and do this old school. So if you're new to the channel, we started out reviewing television live. So what would happen is the episode would air and we'd be like Talking Dead, except I would not cover The Walking Dead because I stopped watching the show. And I covered shows I like and I don't like. Now the last show I covered live was Game of Thrones. But I can't wait to cover the Orville when it comes back. So on Orville Day, I thought I'd review the pilot. What I do is a short review. I talk to you when this is done. It'll go over to Nerdrotic Live. Jaloja, everybody, what's up? The Grimoy Diabetic and Mark Lazerth. And I know it's late, so nobody's going to show up, but who knows? You never know who's watching. So the Orville, real quick, it's a show I didn't like at first. So we used to have a podcast called Nerdrotic Premieres, and there'd be Mrs. Nerdrotic and a couple of my friends, and we'd each pick a show to premiere, and we'd talk about it for about 15 minutes. We covered the Orville, and I didn't watch Family Guy. I was never a Family Guy fan. I like Seth MacFarlane from what he said at the Oscars, but I can't say I was the biggest fan at first. I watched the episode, and I was like, I didn't quite understand the show. It was about 4 or 5 episodes into the season where a bunch of my friends were just like, dude, you gotta watch this show. It's good. Give it a shot. If you love Star Trek, you're gonna love the show. So I'm like, fine. So I burned through the first 4 episodes and I loved it. And it's great watching the pilot after watching these 2 seasons now and seeing what they set up, the seeds they planted. And I enjoyed it a lot more. So let's go over the pilot one more time, shall we? And by the way, happy birthday to the Orville. Congratulations on getting a season 3 on Hulu. I know there were some of you who still wanted to be on the network, and it's behind a paywall. Again, I never had a problem with that because I have Hulu anyway, but I understand. And I think it's the best way for the show to survive as long as it remains itself, because I want it to keep the rules of being on TV. I don't want it to, start dropping F-bombs and stuff because it can be on Hulu. I like the cleanness of it. I like a nice show that I can enjoy with the entire family, and they can slip in those jokes anyway. And I love what the Orville has turned into. I always relate it to the Venture Brothers, which was one of my favorite shows. It started out as a parody, became its own thing, and it is our Star Trek right now. Within the first episode, you have deeper, fuller characters than you do in anything with Star Trek Discovery. The Orville has a ball of snot called Yaphet that you care more about than any character in Star Trek Discovery. Now, I don't want to crap on Star Trek Discovery when I'm celebrating the Orville. So this episode is called Old Wounds. Now, what I do when I review television live is I get my crappy notes out and I go over what I thought of the episode. Now, again, when I first saw this episode, I wasn't that impressed with it. I was wrong. So it starts out a year in the past. We're, of course, in the year 2418, if I remember correctly. We're in the 20, or is it? Yeah, in the future. Maybe I'm getting that year wrong. But we're a year in the past. Ed Mercer is getting home from work. He gets to his flat and he hears a little bit of a noise and he sees his wife sleeping with, we don't know this at the time, but it's Rob Lowe playing Derulio. or is it Darilio? And he doesn't have any lines. He just has a little screech. And when he walks in, Ed Mercer has like a shocked face. Darilio squirts this little blue liquid out the top of his head, and it squirts all over Kelly. And he bails. So we skip ahead to a year later, and we see Admiral Halsey call in Ed Mercer. Admiral Halsey, played by the great Victor Garber, who was Sidney Bristow's dad in Alias. And he tells him that he has a command. They have 3,000 ships in the fleet, and they need to staff them. And he tells him, quite frankly, you're not my first choice, but we need to staff these ships. This is your second chance. Apparently, since Ed Mercer had seen his wife sleeping with Darilio, that he's been drinking a lot, showing up to work hungover, and hasn't been that great of an employee. So that's the biggest difference, between Starfleet and the Planetary Union. It's more of a workplace than a military, although it kind of turns into a military. And so he gets a command, and he gets to captain a ship. It's called the Orville. It's a mid-level cruiser. And the first thing he needs is a helmsman. So he talks Admiral Halsey into letting his friend Gordon be the helmsman. Now, Gordon has been, apparently was known for drawing dicks on things. And, well, Gordon is Gordon. And Gordon is my favorite character, by the way. And we see Ed meets Gordon, and he's playing, he's in the, I forgot what they called it now, the simulator. And he's fighting against, I want to call it, it's not an orc, but it's named Justin. And he's got a simulation going, and he's like he's like a samurai, and he's fighting. I'm going to call it an orc. I'm brain farting right now. With a personality though, and it was pretty funny. So they talks. Gordon is very excited. He'll be helming a ship again. He didn't think he would be. And they end up going to the Orville. We get some good ship porn here. Now, our good friend Tommelfinger cut a video. If you can find his YouTube channel, I asked him. He did this for Star Trek, but I love ship porn, and that is an anti-Trekker saying, by the way. And he got some of the best ship porn from Star Trek: The Motion Picture, and he actually cut it to porn music, which I thought was great. So if you can find Tommelfinger, excellent ship porn right there. So we get on board the Orville, and we meet the crew. And within, like the first 15 minutes, we know the crew of the Orville. All right, so we meet Alara Katan, who, of course, left in season 2, and she is a Selayan, and she has super strength because her gravity is stronger on her planet. She's the chief security officer. We meet John Lamar, who is the navigator. He's also a level 8 helmsman. We meet Isaac, and this is set up. So Isaac is a Kalon, and they are a legendary racist planet. They're not really racist. They just think they're superior to everybody. So I don't think it's to a particular race. They just think they are superior, and they are. They're technologically superior, and they don't have any contact really with the Planetary Union. So they send out this envoy, Isaac, and he is going to be the engineer. And then they have we meet Bortus, who's a Moclan, and we all know about Bortus. And this is where they set up Jaloja. Ed talks about, him being an all-male species, and he talks about, well, I guess there's not too many arguments about leaving the toilet seat up, and he's all, well, of course not. We only urinate once a year. He's all, wow, I urinate 4 or 5 times a night. That must be terrible or uncomfortable for you. Yeah, it really is. And then we meet Claire Finn, and she is a brilliant doctor, and she decides to stay. She should be on a big cruiser or something. She decides to stay on the ship because Ed will need her. And Ed, of course, susses that out and is properly offended by that. We also, so we get in the crew, they take off. They don't have a first officer yet, though. That's the key. So they're going to eventually get one anyway. They decide to take off. They have to take a supply run out. And we get word on the first officer. Ed finds out that it's his ex-wife, Kelly Grayson. He freaks out, runs out of the hallway. This is where we see Yaphet the first time because he kind of runs through him. Played by Norm Macdonald. We love Norm Macdonald. And Ed freaks out to Admiral Mercer. asking what the hell's going on. Why is my ex-wife a first officer? But he finds out that she requested the position. So he sees Kelly for the first time since he bailed on her, and it's awkward. And she is basically there because she feels bad and she wants to help him, and she's seen his downward spiral. She feels responsible for it. That's why she requested the position. She thought she could be helpful, and actually it shows in their bios that they actually are working compatible, although Ed asked Admiral Mercer if that compatibility program can get blue dye out of a lampshade. So Kelly sees Gordon knows all about it. And by the way, the crew start talking about it once they hear that the ex-wife is coming. They're like, oh, Jesus Christ, this is going to be terrible. And Borda says, we shouldn't be talking about this. And Lamar's all, we're talking about this. We're definitely talking about this. And Kelly sees Gordon. Gordon, called her a B on the bridge, but he's all nice to her up front. She susses it out. She's like, oh, crap, he's talked shit about me. And she did. So they have to go to a planet to deliver some supplies. And they see Dr. Aronoff, who's played by, I'm forgetting his name now. His last name is George, but he's in The Expanse. He plays Arjun Avasarala in The Expanse, if you recognize him. And he is working on some genetic research on this planet. He contacts the Orville and says, you know what, we really didn't need supplies. We called you out here for something else, and we need to talk to you about it on the planet. So they think something's up. They go down, and they see what he's working on, and it is a quantum time device, which is hilarious, and it creates a quantum bubble. And he demonstrates this by putting a banana in there, and it makes the banana rotten. And of course, Ed Mercer says we need no longer fear the banana because it's an anti-banana ray. But it turns out it is a quantum bubble, and what it does is it speeds up time inside that bubble, and they can grow crops theoretically in this quantum bubble, which I love. It's very Brandon Braga right there. And they're worried that the Krill is going to find out about this. So that's why they called the Orville out, because they didn't want to send a message out subspace, because they were afraid that the Krill, who are the Klingons of the Orville, they would intercept the signal and get the device, because it could be used to age entire armies. It could be used as a weapon. Well, Derek Ashton, a lab tech, and it had to be a Derek, ends up being a Krill spy, pulls a gun on everybody, and kills Dr. Lee with the quantum bubble, ages her 125 years. And so we're halfway through the episode. We've done all of our character introductions. By this time, you pretty much know the general personalities of all the characters. This is what you call good writing. And so many people were dumping on the show, so many critics. Actually, my most viewed video was right after I'd seen most of the season. I had heard, and I heard from many others, that it got at the time, it was a 36% from the critics at Rotten Tomatoes. And this is before all the Captain Marvel stuff, when, maybe they still had some credibility. Not much. I really don't put much into what critics say, but I was kind of surprised. And I thought it was just hate towards Seth MacFarlane, and that's pretty much what it was, because within every review, all you saw were frat boy jokes or dick jokes. And, like myself, they didn't really understand the show. And they were reviewing everything off of the first couple, 3-4 episodes, and not really off the whole season, which isn't really fair. So I did that video to point out that it's not fair, and it damn near got 500,000 views, which surprised me. So the Krill end up showing up because of Derek, and they land on the planet, and Ed grabs the quantum bubble device with Kelly. They make a daring escape. They throw, we get the first Alara opening the jar of pickles for Ed Mercer. She demonstrates some of her powers, and they get away. In the meantime, there's a big battle cruiser out there, and the Orville is fighting a Krill ship. And Gordon gets to hug the donkey, because he's been hugging the donkey since flight school. And that's where basically the Orville just spins around and starts firing at it. The shuttle gets damaged, but he's able to, while hugging the donkey, have the shuttle go in the back. And it just made me, again, I'm sorry, think of Star Trek Discovery. And I was thinking of final episode when somehow the Discovery, the Discovery multiplied, it's just started shatting shuttles, and it had like 100 shuttles by the end of the episode. And you think the Orville would never do something like this. And one of the things that was great, rewatching this episode, was the aesthetic. And, it's been a while since I've seen an episode of the Orville, and I'm reminded how much I miss old Star Trek and how much I miss the Orville. It sucks it's going to be delayed, but I will be very happy when it comes back. Very, very happy. So the krill, there's a krill that boards the shuttle, but they're able to, they were all wearing seatbelts, so they stop the shuttle real quick. He bangs into the windshield and knocks himself out. They get on the ship. They get on the Orville. The engines are damaged, and it looks like they're about to get boarded. So they decided to give up the quantum bubble device, but they have a seed to a tree that they plant in there. They put it on a remote shuttle. They send it over there, and they age the tree 100 years, and it grows, and a giant tree forms in the middle of the Kree ship, killing everybody. But we see that one krill later, so it's just the same actor. So obviously he survived, and they are able to get away, and supposedly the device is destroyed, but we actually see that later. So they set up the Kalon for much later for identity. They set up Isaac. They set up Jaloja, and it's just a fun episode. And I'm glad to be celebrating the Orville's birthday. I'm glad that we have. We're getting a third season, and I wish there was more to talk about. But let's get to the chat here. So these reviews are usually pretty short. Like I said, when it's done, it will be on Nerdrotic Live. Oh crap! I just lost the chat. Hang on. I will get to the chat. I thought I had this figured out, and I didn't. One of these days. Hope everybody's having a good night. I know it's late. And I'm not, I don't think I was stepping on the High Council. I don't think I did. What's up, Zombie Apocalypse? Gary, hail the Orville. Hi, Christy. Hi, Chris Wilson. The writing on the Orville isn't perfect, but it's pretty damn good. No, it had to work itself out in the beginning. And, it's kind of funny. It kind of did the same thing in season 2. But I don't need perfect all the time. I just need entertaining. And I definitely don't need to be preached at. Which Hollywood just can't stop doing, and at least this show doesn't do that. What's up, M? What's up, Placebo? Just playing WoW Classic, listening to the great review of an awesome show. Well, thank you very much. I don't know how great that review was, but thanks. I just wanted to review an episode of television. I wish I would have thought of this earlier. I would have promoted it, but everything is connected, man. Seth Fan here. Love Ted. I love Ted. I love Ted. I will tell you that right now. Like Family Guy, only watch a bit of the Orville. Frack off. Felger Carb. What's up? Well, hey, you're a Seth fan. We're all Seth fans here. I never thought that reviewing the show would lead to a phone call with Seth. And it was a nice phone call. And I got to meet Tom Constantino. And he is a cool guy. He's a producer on the show. And, what impressed me, and this happened a few months ago, was I was a part of a Twitter exchange, and I don't pay too much attention to Twitter. And because usually it's Star Trek Discovery sniping or something like that, but I saw this big long thread where Tom was, just talking to Mecca and to me and to Doomcock, and it was cool. It was really cool. Just pure fan interaction. And just showing love for a show. I long for the simpler days. I do. And hopefully they will return sometime once everybody calms down. The Orville's doctor was married to Cisco in DS9. That's true. That is true. But if you needed to rebuild a weapon system in a battle, couldn't you use a time gun to give you more time to fix it? Well, you would, but the thing is, it doesn't work in the past, it only moves time forward. Unless if it was some kind of self-replicating gun, and if it took time, then you could put the gun in there and move it forward and would replicate faster. It took a while for it to settle to its tone. Yep, Nina, and every show does. Every show does. Well, The Expanse kind of hit the ground running. It's okay, Chris Wilson. Don't worry about autocorrect. I had a hashtag spelled wrong on my Chappelle review like for 10 hours today. So it was Rotten Tomato. The Kermit Doll. Such an awesome show. It is. What's up, the TARDIS Zone? Isaac is one of my favorites. Bortus 2. Same here. Same here. I requested a 1/6 scale Bortus figure with cigarettes, Jaloja action. We'll see if I get it. The Orville is the Dave Chappelle of the sci-fi world. While the critics wet themselves over Discovery or Doctor Who, the rest of the world is tuned into the Orville. Jim, you are spot on, my friend. Spot on. And you know what? The critics just show their bias. Disabled Llama, thank you for the Australian $2. Hello to you. I appreciate it. Chris Wilson, thank you for the Canadian $2.79. All these characters have developed well. Thanks, G. And they have. It sucks that Alara's gone. I miss Alara. I do. But Sage, what's her name? Sage. She was the best part of Dark Phoenix. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I'm forgetting her name. Sage Halston. Halston Sage. I knew that. But she's great. 1,000 cigarettes. Yeah, I used to smoke a lot, And a detachable mustache. That is true. Now entering glory hole. Halston Sage. Thank you, Markless Earth. I hate to be the buzzkill, Gary, but Seth is a huge liberal. Just watch him on YouTube and you view the Orange Man Bad Bash Fest. Well, see, here's the difference, Princess Unicorn. I don't care if people don't like the Orange Man. And I don't care if they like him. I am not a person who doesn't like people who like the Orange Man. I don't choose to look at the world that way. Seth can have his politics, but Seth generally keeps the politics out of the Orville. And that's all I care about. I don't really follow too many celebs on Twitter because of that. Listen, I have friends. One of my best friends hates the Orange Man. All right. So I can't go through life judging my friends on a one single thing, which is politics, which is a very small thing. That's why I really hate Hollywood injecting so much politics into our show, because it is like, you might as well go full on religion too, and let's just divide everybody else. You used to be able to have to treat television like Thanksgiving dinner back in the day, when you just wanted to, have a little time to escape, especially on certain shows. Like I said in my live stream earlier today, Knives Out is a movie that what it is, and I choose not to see it. I don't think it should not exist though. That's the same lot. I mean, listen, David Chappelle should exist. Steven Crowder should be able to tell all the jokes he wants without any repercussions from YouTube. We need to stay consistent. That's all. You can disagree all day long, but they should be able to exist. And the Orville should be able to exist. I generally don't get into that stuff, especially with the Orville. But I know what you're saying. I know, and I know where he is coming from, and that's okay. But you know what? What we hopefully want to get to is what we have in common. We love Star Trek. We love Doctor Who. But the problem is the creators of those two shows have decided to divide audiences purposely. And that is what I don't like. Seth MacFarlane wants to keep all of his audience. He is fully aware of that. And, and as long as he maintains what he's doing right now, he will. He will. I mean, man's not a dummy. He's made billions of dollars, I'm guessing. Maybe that's high. Billions a lot, but like hundreds of millions for a network, and made it that far in Hollywood. And you know what? He's not in any trouble. You don't hear Seth getting in any trouble with anybody. So he knows how to navigate the waters, and he's done it pretty well. And listen, the game there probably is. Listen, that's why I left it. That's not a game I wanted to play. I can't. No. I'm too in your face with stuff. So, yo, love the vids. Listening to you and Doomcock put me to sleep like a Vulcan neck pinch. From Sydney, Australia. Cheers, mate. Ash Shroom. Thank you for the Australian $5 and the kind words. I hope it'll put you to sleep while you're, at night. That's good. I always listen to, Jeremy, who is a good friend from Geeks and Gamers. I love Jeremy. Jeremy is not somebody I could listen to while I'm going to sleep at night, though. I listen to very calm and soothing. I listen to somebody reading The Lord of the Rings, or I listen to, old Art Bell. Art Bell was great. Soothing voices. Soothing. ASMR. Soothing. A lot of people owe Seth favors, or so he said. They probably do. Listen, you know what thing I have respect for is hiring his exes. I know that's personal and whatever, but any guy who can hire his ex and work with them has my full respect. I have never been able to be friends after a breakup. That's something you don't hear me talking about any ex-girlfriends or I have them, but I have an ex-wife, but you don't hear me talking about them because we ain't friends. We're done. So he has my respect. He started out with cartoons, and he was a Star Trek fan, and you can tell I love all the callbacks to the music and everything. I love it all. Hi, Gary. The genius of writing is these early episodes was showed when the next season stuff Seth set up all paid off. That is writing. He paid off everything he set up, and there was no red herrings in the Orville. There's a couple things like in this episode when they escaped the science lab. What happened to the rest of the science people? Did they leave them there with the krill, like the living krill, or did the krill take off? We don't know what happened, but we assume they're okay. Squids McCracken, what's up? How's it going? Thank you, Joel, and thank you, Ash. Incubus, the Orville does politics and religion right. Seth doesn't give you moral answers. He asks moral questions and leaves the answers for you to decide, just like Roddenberry. Well said, Incubus Time Lord. Well said. I couldn't have said it better myself. No, Doomcock rants aren't sleepy time, but he's got really good live streams. Doomcock doesn't rant all the time. Doomcock is a very eloquent YouTuber. He's a very emotional, passionate, but eloquent YouTuber and friend. But when Doomcock rants, it means something. It's got impact. I don't know. I don't think I've ever ranted. Probably during an episode of Star Trek Discovery, but and that Doctor Who episode, I kind of lost my shit, but that was about it. Mahler is great for soothing voices with his unabridged rage videos. Mahler needs to read books for a living. He probably doesn't want to do that, but he has got like audiobook voice down pat. I wonder if he's done that. He should make it. He should make not a reel. It used to, man, I was going to show my age. He should make a tape. But yeah, he should put up he's probably got a great day job, but he would be awesome at that stuff. Anybody, if anybody's listening, check out a guy named Mahler. If you want voiceover work, that guy's perfect. I listen to your live stream with Doomcock for hours while driving to Pennsylvania. Thanks for the content, brother. Chris Wilson, thank you for listening, brother. Thank you so much. And Doomcock thanks you too. The Inquisition is my favorite show to do. I love doing that show with Doomcock. I hope we do it forever. It's Sunday at 6 p.m. Next week, it is on his channel. What's up, Captain's Log? Ebola Jenkins. I owe Seth for keeping Trek alive. We all do. So hats off to Seth MacFarlane. You know, it's too bad. I mean, I'm glad we got the Orville. It's too bad we didn't get a Star Trek from Seth MacFarlane, because I'm betting it would have been amazing. I'm betting it would have been just brilliant. If he was I don't know how he talked Fox into putting this show on Fox for 2 years. That tells you how good the guy is. See, there's the difference. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go back to Star Trek Discovery references, but you got Seth MacFarlane, you got Alex Kurtzman. So you got Charm, and then you got Butt Kisser. We'll just say Butt Kisser. Legion 2K. I like the Orville. I do. Just wish there was a little more humor and a little more space stuff, or both. I'm wondering if that's budgetary, and we'll see how that changes with season 3. Yeah, we'll see. I actually want more space stuff. I'll be with you there, but I always want more space stuff. Identity part 2 was freaking badass, though. That was badass. I'd rather see the U.S.S. Orville destroy the U.S.S. Discovery, says Nihilist Shadow. Somebody please make that video. I don't know. I mean, it probably is pretty easy to make. Dupecock is articulate. That's reality. Kari's Doomcock is a very friendly guy, believe it or not. But I don't want to ruin his stigma. He's a terrible, evil villain. I'd rather see the U.S.S. Orville. Yeah, I already read that. How come it jumped on me? Where am I? Where am I in the chat? Farscape. Farscape is the shit. And it might come back. So that would be good. Could you imagine a world where Farscape is back and The Expanse is doing well and the Orville is doing well? Then we won't need... God, it kills me to say that. We won't need Star Trek. Oh, that hurts. That hurts. I bet the creepy vampires that control Star Trek now would never have let Seth have enough creative freedom to do Star Trek right. Yep, he is Jim Whitehead. He is so much better off, and he probably knows that. I don't want to speak for the guy. I can say, listen, I highly doubt he's listening, but you never know who's listening. Because the one thing I was told was they were watching, little bits and pieces, I'm guessing, of my reviews. So you never know. But we can definitely show our respect to Seth. Whether you agree, politics, it doesn't matter. It's, did you like his show? And it would matter if he shoved them down your throats and was preachy, but he's not. So that needs to be encouraged a lot. 20th anniversary of the Farscape premiere. Is that today? I didn't. Here, let me check. I'm going to check really quick. Farscape premiere date. Well, where are you? It depends on where you are. Was March 19th, 1999. We missed that. That sucks that I missed that. Damn. We're almost 20 years. Well, we're 18 years from Lord of the Rings and what, the X-Men, the Fox X-Men movie. Oh man, that feels like yesterday for me. I was how old was I in 1999? God, when you're old and you go, how old was I in 1999? I was 29. 29. God. Yeah, and getting divorced. The year before I was getting divorced. Stargate already had a movie. I need to watch Stargate. Do you know if they're doing any more comics of the Orville? Just got the second issue the other day from Dark Horse, and it was great, says Spock128. If they sell well, they will do more. I'm guessing they will, but I'll find out. I don't know for sure, though. I don't know for sure, but I still need to review that comic. But that's good to hear, Spock128. You know what? I bet you, do you have a Twitter? If you tweet that at Seth, I bet you he'd love to hear that. First episode, Seth's the captain. Wife cheats on him. She gets him into his position out of pity. Yes, that's the big twist at the end, by the way. As at the end, we find out that she got him his position. He should be called Captain Cuck. Nah, Spider-Man. What am I missing? Love your show. Nah. Okay, so Captain Cuck is it was actually Anson Mount in Star Trek Discovery, because he let his first officer basically talk shit to him right on the bridge and said, "Okay, that's Captain Cuck." For Orville Comics. Thank you for the super chat, though. Spider-Man, not Bug Boy. Spider-Man, not Bug Boy. He's not a Bug Boy. Eric K. Get some tea with honey. Left you this afternoon, and you're still going. You got a lot to say today. I do. And honestly, that was a short live stream today. And this one's not going to be super long either. As a matter of fact, I got to cut it off right there. I told Mrs. Nerdrotic this would be short, and usually my reviews were only about half hour, 45 minutes long. So this one will be over on Nerdrotic Live. If you miss any of it, please pass it around. Yeah. And thanks everybody for joining. Thank you for the super chats from Eric K, Spider-Man, not Bug Boy, Joel Tumburo, Ash Shroom, Chris Wilson, and Disabled Llama. And Tony C is in the chat. Thank you for being here. Mark Lazarth and your wrench, PJ Riddle, Frackoff, Feldegarb, Christy and her wrench, Cracklin, JPRPH1, Nihilist Shadow and his wrench, Chris Wilson, Captain's Log, Carries, Tony C, Nina Fabiano, the Grumoy, Diabetic, Sith Lord, what's up, my friend? Rick Weiss, Make Solo, Rome Hater, Rex Racer, Bill Confidential, Princess Unicorn, JPRPH1, M, and Daniel Krantz, High Plains Drifter, what's up? Rick Weiss, Slime, episode 101. Jim of Atiora, Dalton Barchett. Sorry if I barched your name there. PJ Riddle, Rex Racer, Cracklin, Spock182. And see, back in the old days, everybody, Andrew V, I used to be able to, I would end all of my live streams by naming every single person in the chat. That's impossible now, but I'm going to try. Moron Feminist Jang. What the hell? Anglius Draven. Vendetta Wide. And that's all I can see right now. Jim Whitehead. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Please go to nerdrotic.com for my live stream schedule. Please check out, there's lots of links in, I think it's, are they in this one? Did I put them in this one? No, I didn't. But there'll be links in this one when it's over on Nerdrotic Live. I have an Amazon, like a recommended page. I recommend a lot of stuff. So it's on Amazon if you want to buy it there or not. If not, you could just look and see what I recommend, and as far as viewing and reading and stuff, and you could buy it wherever you want. I don't care. But I thought Mrs. Nerdrotic put it together for me, so she's awesome. She's been a huge help with getting me caught up. So we love Mrs. Nerdrotic. Hail to Melissa. And thank you, Seth MacFarlane, for making a fun show. All right. And listen, in this world, you can't please everybody, and that's fine. We're not going to agree on stuff. That's fine. I think what we can agree on is the freedom of expression, the freedom of speech, and the freedom of freedom from repercussion for saying our feelings, even if it hurts yours. So have a good night, everybody. And we'll end this one with Jalo.